And getting into some other football in the Pacific Northwest, we'll go quickly over the big game of the week, which was very entertaining, the Ducks and Buckeyes in Eugene. The Ducks pulled it off. I don't like the Ducks, just so anyone knows. Not as much as I don't like the UW, but I don't like the Ducks. But they looked good. And they came back. I mean,
They're ranked number 2. I mean, they beat one of the best teams in college football.
Minimum.
So, I mean, they were ranked 3 when they played them.
It was 3 versus 2, yeah. And they I think Ohio State dropped to like 4 or 5.
But still, I mean,
100%.
And it's big for them. I mean, we've talked about this so much, but Pac-12, they're going to the Big Ten now. I mean, that's a statement win for Oregon.
Yeah, 100%.
They showed they can play college football. They're not just a good team. So.
I agree. And obviously, we all know Oregon has the money. They're going to be there for a long time.
I think that team made the most sense to move. I think they have enough to compete just because they're so different that, and they like you said, they have so much money that they can go out and get those talented skill players that fit that offense they want to run.
Well, it was funny. Dan Lanning, their head coach, after the game, he does his interview and he goes, "And then if you guys see any talented, good players over there, tell them to come here." And I'm like, always recruiting.
Yeah,
it's interesting because I agree with you. I think the Pac-12 last year, to me, and I could be a little biased, but I think it ended the year with the most ranked teams. So I don't know if you consider, I don't know if people be like, oh, just because they're ranked doesn't mean they're good, which I agree with because
but I mean,
but that does prove something that all these teams are pretty solid. I think obviously if the Pac-12 stayed together, I think right now,
a good freaking.
Well, I mean, you have USC who's lost 2 in a row, but they are technically a ranked team. I mean, they should be. They're very, very, very good. Oregon is obviously a national championship contender. Utah, I know, just lost back-to-back, but they've been good all year. Colorado's obviously just a Hollywood act. The UW's been fine. We'll get into them in a second. You know, Wazoo is always one of those kind of like
teeter-totter.
They could be really fun, or they could lose every game. And then, I mean, you have the Arizona. I mean, you just have like a really interesting division. I don't know what the record would be. I'm going to check it next week and kind of go over because it's kind of midway through the season to see where
they would have been.
What the Pac-12 record would have been and stuff. But yes, this is a statement win. I don't think anyone really picked the Ducks.
I did not see that happen.
I did not either. And obviously it was unfortunate for Will Howard, the quarterback out of Ohio State. He ran the ball and then tried to slide to get a timeout, but it was like he started sliding at like 2 seconds. It was like, good luck, weirdo. But obviously, huge win for them. I have no idea what actually Oregon State did. I don't even know if they played, but it wasn't a big win, so I don't really care. But I do love you, Oregon State. Don't take that the wrong way. We'll go to Wazoo now. Go ahead. You go first because you go first.
It was kind of funny. I was looking at, I don't think it was the Couch GM. It was some podcast, but they're like, I'll just ask you, do you think Mateer should still start? I have my own opinion, but
100%. He's had 2, last game was really bad.
Yeah.
Boise State game, I'm not going to pin on him because again, I just think Boise State's a far better team. So it's hard for me to be like, oh, you had a bad game against, you guys went to Ohio State and lost and Mateer threw 6 interceptions. It's Ohio State.
Yeah.
I obviously don't think Boise State's that level, but
I thought it was a little much.
I
was
agree.
like, I understand that they need to win.
This is his first year starting. He's 5-1.
I know. That's why I was like, he had 2 really bad games, but honestly, he's still dynamic. I mean, he's not
still
the
best running quarterback in the country, in my opinion.
I mean, he is a captain. So to name a sophomore captain, that says something.
Yeah.
So even if he's not winning, yes, they kind of got handed the win with that interception.
Yes.
But he's still doing something out there. I mean, I think if it's like 3-4 games, you're like, they're still in the playoff contention, like, well, we kind of maybe need to make a change.
To me,
but
if they were also
I think it's early.
If they had like 3-2 or 3-3, then yes.
Yeah.
The fact you're 5-1,
you're not pulling that guy out.
You're winning. And again, like I know we've had that argument before where it's like, but you won, you lost, that's what matters. It does to an extent.
When you're 5-1, you're not making. I mean,
why would you move?
Yeah, I mean, who are you even going to? I don't even know their back. I mean, who's their backup?
That's literally being like, oh yeah, the Vikings are undefeated right now. We're just going to put JJ McCarthy in. Like, why?
That's not
why would you ever do that? Sam Darnold is your starting quarterback next year already. Like, he's that guy.
Yeah, he did have a touchdown run. So
and it's hard for me because you have it's Zevi Ekus, I think is his name. I want to say he's a transfer. He's a senior. I don't know exactly where he came from, but I don't He was at Bryant. I don't even know where that is. Bryant.
No idea. I just don't think when you're, like you said, if you're 5-1, he is a captain. There's a reason he's a captain. I don't think you make that change.
So you have one senior, and then you have, what is it, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 freshmen. You're not putting a freshman in. No matter how good they look or how good they are.
They're not Arch Manning.
Yeah.
So even though Arch Manning's not a freshman, but still that would be like the only caliber of quarterback you could see.
I get what you're saying. It's just I don't see, to me, I don't see the reason. He is young. He is learning. He is very sporadic and interesting to watch play. But to me, again, you're 5-1, and the team you've lost to so far was a good team. You've beaten 2 good teams in the UW and Texas Tech, big conferences, whatever. If he wins next week against, I think, Hawaii, you're bowl eligible. As a Coug fan, I'm sorry, but we're not going to the national championship. If we make a bowl game, I'm stoked.
Yeah.
We won the Apple Cup. That's the biggest game of the year.
That was huge.
And then if we win a bowl game or get to a bowl game, that's massive. That's all I ask for as a Coug fan. I don't ask for an Oregon-type caliber team. We're not that team.
I think
we're in the Palouse.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of nowhere.
The one good thing that came out of this game, though, is the defense.
I think the defense looked much better.
They got ran over, unfortunately, by Boise, so they came back. They didn't let it. Because if you lose 2 straight with bad defensive play, that's
and they're tackling. So I mean, obviously, I know you were out and about,
so much better.
They're missed tackling. They missed a lot, but it was. I mean, you just see the difference. I mean, it's like you still gave up 120 yards rushing, which is awful,
but
and
not
again,
250.
No, and hang on, did Aaron Judge finally do something?
Nope.
That was Stanton. Why did I think? Oh, was it Stanton? Oh yeah, never mind. No, and I agree. And you can't be giving up over 100 yards every game and win every game. You got lucky you just saw the different level of like Power 5, Pac-12 compared to Mountain West, Fresno State. You saw the difference. I still think the Cougs they're better than that. I think the Cougs, to me, like, they should win out, in my opinion. I don't see a game, maybe the Oregon State game, that like scares me. The Boise State game was like, besides the UW game. The Boise State game was the big game. That was the big one of the season.
And that was even before we knew that they're going to have a Heisman at running
100%. So, everyone was like, he's good, but he's now at like 1,200. We'll get to that. We will talk about him in a second.
I'm curious now. I'm going to look up his yardage.
He's over at 1,200 yards already this season in 6 games. It's been ridiculous. He literally has over 100+ yards every game.
I just want to know.
But yeah, so I agree.
1248 with 17 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. He literally
9.9 yards per carry.
He could probably get injured right now and still win it.
Dude, that is my gosh.
So yeah, obviously the Cougs had a pick 6, 60-yard return by O'Connor. They had another pick. They looked fine. Janikowski again, field goal wise, just been super clutch. Really he's 2 for 2. He's just Mr. Reliable nowadays. The defense, I agree with you. Again, just a lot of missed tackles. They hit early, they get there, but they don't wrap up. It's frustrating to watch because it's like, just tackle the guys and we probably win this game by 40.
Yeah.
The Cougs were the better team in my opinion. I don't know if that's saying much though.
Yeah. I think it would have been nice for them to have a little bit more of a statement win since they're in 2026. Fresno's coming to be like the Pac 8 probably.
They need one more team, but they'll be in there. It'll be the Pac. Right now it'll be the Pac 8, but I think they'll get more. But yes, they'll be on the Pac 8.
But they won. I mean, honestly, they won.
They're 5, and like we've said before, we've had that argument. They're 5-1. They're one game. If they win next week against Hawaii, they will be a playoff team, a bowl eligible team. They will get a bowl game. The ratings they've been saying so many things like the CW and their ratings for the Cougs, especially. I know Oregon State, they're trying, but they don't get as much fans. The Cougs are like averaging like 500,000 people a game, which is really good. Which is for a team that most times doesn't get a lot of love, and they're middle of nowhere, and they're on the CW channel. Like they're getting like 400,000.
The good thing going for the Cougs too is how good Boise still is.
100%.
It'll
be interesting though if he stays.
Yeah.
I already forgot how to pronounce his name. We tried to learn, but it's Ashton.
Jaunty.
So we'll stay really quick in the state of Washington.
Yeah. It was kind of what we expected, to be honest. It was a disaster.
First half, they were good. The UW was good. They were right there.
They were down by 10. They had a chance.
Right there.
But holy moly.
The second half, they forgot how to play football.
40-16.
It wasn't even... I mean, the third quarter was honestly...
Gosh.
It was 3. They gave up 3 points in the third, whatever. But the fourth quarter...
Like 20 points.
And it was weird because it was like opposite of what they've done all year.
Yeah.
They've like turned it on in the second half. And this game, the travel... Again, we talked about it. They need 2 more wins.
Well, they couldn't rush. They turned the ball over.
The running back was... Coleman was dead. Will Rogers was not very good. It was like to me, it was like his first.
Well, he had a fumble.
Frustrating game
Well, I think he had
and a
2
pick.
fumbles and lost 1, and then he did have a pick.
He had two fumbles and lost one. I don't know. They had 1 recovery.
Yeah. It was just. It's just honestly embarrassing.
When it was
like
to me,
go to
it was,
the Big Ten and you just lose to it.
Especially when you come off of a Michigan win.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think we've talked about this too a little bit. I think Michigan was a little overrated. But again, it's Michigan. Like that's a big It's like
it's
going,
just a good school. That's what I think. That's the big thing.
That's going to Ole Miss and beating Ole Miss when they're not ranked. That's going to these are just big caliber schools. But I think Rodgers just for the first time really looked like bad.
Yeah.
He's been pretty good all year.
Fish is the biggest problem, to be honest. I didn't really like that hire anyways, but
that was a panic hire.
They got screwed.
It was a
like, what are you
panic hire.
gonna do? They had no time to interview, but
it was a panic hire. And obviously, he did very good down the stretch with Arizona. Like he led them, whatever they won like 8 in a row, 9 in a row, and then they won the bowl game. They blew out the bowl game over a pretty good team last year with Arizona. But I agree. I think that you look at the I don't know their real first names, their real names, their first names, Carroll and Belichick.
Oh yeah,
they have not been like. You can't give up 40 points to the defense has been good. You can't score 16 points to the offense was good.
Yeah.
You know, they have all these people. The one positive they do have Demond.
Oh,
Demond Williams Jr., their freshman quarterback.
Yeah.
He is going to be He's transferring in my opinion.
He's so interesting.
They will have to pay him $1 million.
Because he is very versatile.
So fast.
He's like honestly, I don't think he's as good yet, but like John Mateer, like his play style is very similar.
He will be. I think he will be better, and I don't think that's crazy.
I don't know. I haven't seen. It's been so interesting for the 2 quarterbacks to play though. Like I feel like that's really weird
too, because you have such a pocket presence in Rodgers, and then you have this like, and it's annoying me because I hate when Williams comes in because it's like 99% of the time it's a run, and I'm like, but throwing wise, he's been good. Like he had 71 yards for a touchdown. Like he was good.
Yeah,
he is going to be a stud, and I genuinely don't think the UW can keep him. I don't think you can offer him enough money because the team's just not good enough. And I don't know how, maybe they'll be good next year. Maybe they have a great recruiting class coming in. I don't know. But they just don't. They look so bad. And then again, like we've said, they need 2 more wins. They need 2 more wins to make a bowl game, which would be massive. They go 2-16 Indiana. That brutal. You're traveling again, and it's probably a better team. USC, who again, yes, has lost 2 in a row, but they are a very good team. Comes to here. That's a pretty decent rivalry game. They're not going to like that. Then you go to a whiteout at Penn State. Good luck. Like, you're not winning.
Nope. Isn't Penn State top 10 now?
3.
Yeah.
You're not winning. You're not winning.
No.
You're not winning.
That'd be a huge
UCLA
upset,
at home, you should get. But again, UCLA's kind of been that weird, like,
up and down.
They play some good games, and then you go to Oregon. Like, you have to get 2 wins out of those 5. I don't know if it's... I don't know. I could be speaking out of my butt, but this could be the first team to go to a national championship, and then next year not even make a bowl game.
I think it was just because of that. All their good players not were seniors, but were draft eligible. They took the opportunity
100%. And it sucks because you lost your coach who then definitely took some players and players left. Some players went back to Ole Miss and where they're from and went home, whatever, blah blah blah. And I get it. I don't want to call it an excuse because that is the game, but everyone does deal with that. Like, you get players that, the transfer portal is now a huge deal.
And NIL changed everything.
100%.
And the way in the transfer portal. But
totally. And again, y'all chose to go to the Big Ten. Don't be like, the Cougs are 5-1 and you guys play nobodies. We didn't choose to play the Mountain West until we had to. We wanted to play the Pac-12, which we probably would have lost every game.
Yeah.
But this was the decision by you guys. You guys are in a much harder division. Your travel sucks. They said something like UCLA already has traveled like 25,000 miles for football. Blah. So it'll be interesting. They're in 10th. It's funny. It's like they're in the Big Ten. They're in 10th. They should be in last. They're not in last. They're in like 10th out of whatever it is, 18 teams. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how they finish. I don't know, but I personally would say they win 1 more game. That just like being confident. If I was a betting person, that's what I would bet. I would bet they win the UCLA game. They're going to lose the Indiana, USC, Penn State, and Oregon. And I think Oregon is going to be a wake up call because I think they're going to lose by 50. That is like when people talk about like the Apple Cup, Wazoo, UW, people are saying it's a new era of it, but it's not to me. The Apple Cup is dominated by the UW. It has been dominated forever by the UW. I mean, I think we won the very, very, very first one, and after that, it's been UW. Yeah. That is a huge game for Wazoo.
Yeah.
It's a much bigger game for Wazoo because most of the time UW shows up and they're just like, oh, little brother, what up, losers?
Yeah, the Huskies are like 76-34.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So that's
terrible.
a huge gap.
It's terrible.
But
the Oregon UW game is... I'm trying to think before I say this because I think like USC Notre Dame's a big game. But the UW Oregon game might be the biggest like hatred rivalry on the West Coast in football. They don't like it. Like literally, when we joke about like, oh yeah, we don't like people from Oregon. We really don't like people from Oregon.
I really don't.
Yeah, they're kind of annoying, and they don't really like us because we're annoying. Like,
I don't know why.
It's just
Oregon's
a stupid.
Nah.
Yeah, it's just a dumb.
I don't really
thing.
like Portland.
But those like because again, UW Oregon State, even like Wazoo Oregon State, they're big games. Like we want to win them, but like whatever. But the Oregon UW game literally is like. This game will be big for the UW because if they win, they're going to kick Oregon's butt from probably a bye to a first round game in the top 12. It's a big game.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting to see, but they have not been impressive. No. And I know yes, they probably should have beat Rutgers. They probably should have beat Wazoo. They didn't. They got to now win one more game.
Smoked by Iowa.
They got smoked by, and Iowa's a good team. I mean, they were top 25 preseason ranked. They are in whatever that is, 6th or 7th in the Big Ten. They're 4-2. They're not a bad team. They have a long road ahead of them, and it's your fault. You guys chose to go there. Losers.
What a game!
And so then we'll go to another interesting team, Boise State. Their only loss is to Oregon. Great game. Mm-hmm. They have a guy. I don't know if many of you guys have heard of him. His name is Ashton Genti, I think is how you pronounce it. We're kind of trying.
We're up in the air on that one.
Yep.
I've tried to look it up and just still can't get it. I don't know why.
Through 6 games, 126 carries, 1,248 yards, 17 touchdowns. He's averaging 10 yards a carry. Just for fun.
Absolutely ridiculous.
It's not even funny.
It's wild.
If I can go to, I want game log. It was incredible that he stayed because last year, from what I heard, a lot of teams were like
wanting him.
Yeah, we'll take you. Well, yeah, really, no, really,
yeah,
I would take him. He did end up staying. That's what I want. I think they gave him the keys to Boise. I think he can do whatever he wants. So I think he could drive drunk, and they would be like, "Yep, sure." 200. So I'm just going yards. I don't care about the carries or anything. I'll go yards and touchdowns against Hawaii week 1. 217 yards, a touchdown against Utah. Oh, sorry, I'll go beginning. That was last game. I don't know who GASO is. 267 yards, 6 touchdowns against Oregon. Against Oregon, number 2 now in the country, 192 yards, 3 touchdowns. Against Portland State, which this is the weird one, 127 yards, no touchdowns. What did Portland State do that no one else has done? Let's figure that one out. Wazoo, 259 yards, 4 touchdowns. Utah State, 186 yards, 3 touchdowns. Hawaii, 217 yards and a touchdown.
That's wild.
And that game was in Hawaii, and I think that's like, again, massive time change. You're going to a really warm climate. You're just, everything's different. Boise and Hawaii are about as polar opposites as you can get in the United States. They are number 15 now?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? So they moved up.
Yeah.
They're an interesting team because I think a lot of people have put them on the bubble.
They're on the map.
Top 12
they
team.
Might make the playoffs.
I think they probably will. I don't know what their exact schedule looks like, but it's the rest is the Mountain West. So
yeah, that's the tough part is if they play enough opponents to actually move up.
I think if they win out, they have to be in. So you have UNLV, which is they're
not bad,
but they lost their quarterback. One of their quarterback dipped. San Diego State not great.
No,
they are 4 San Jose State's 4-2. San Diego State's 3-3. Nevada, who is 3-4. San Jose State, who is 4-2.
Yeah.
Wyoming, who is really bad, 1-5. And then Oregon State, which again is that's like it's beating a Power 5 team, so it's a good win. If they go unbeaten and they have one loss to Oregon, which was 3 points, they better be a top 12 team.
I hope so. I'd be rooting for them. Why not?
And I think it's annoying because this season, yes, Oregon's a huge game. Wazoo is a big game for them to play, kind of a rivalry, whatever. They couldn't schedule, I don't think, good enough games to prove themselves. Like they couldn't go get a UW or a Iowa, but I think they beat them. It's interesting because their quarterback sucks. Like he does not suck, but he's not very good.
Well, they beat Wazoo. Pretty well,
100%.
And Wazoo outplayed the Huskies when they played them.
100%.
I think the Huskies should have won, but they just killed themselves.
They shot themselves.
But I kind of agree. I think I think it'd be a lot closer, but I think they have. I mean that Ashton is just
real
wild. I don't think there's a better play in the country right now overall.
There's not.
And
there literally is no one better.
He's running over every defense that comes up.
And it makes life so much easier because then you have this guy, I know it's Cameron Camper, I think is their wide receiver. He has 111 yards. Yeah, why? Because if you do a play action, the whole team's doing this. And they're like, oh gosh.
Well, you have
Maddox,
to.
Yeah, Maddox Mason, what a strange name. He had 217 yards, 2 touchdowns. He didn't play amazing, but
their quarterback transferred to Oklahoma this year. So he's been fine.
And he was
a dual threat quarterback.
Well, so I know that they had a player, and maybe someone is lighting up my phone. My mom, I think, is just taking off to she's going to Portugal right now. Ooh. So she's flying to Amsterdam. So I'm taking off. And I'm like, okay, I love you. I want to say that they transferred a guy from I think it was USC, and he was the one of 2 years ago was the number one quarterback in the country. Yeah. He was a black guy, but I don't see him on the roster. I don't know his name. Mm-hmm. I probably sound terrible saying that, but I don't know. Yeah. But he transferred. I want to say he transferred when maybe he left because he was supposed to be really good, and he didn't play because Caleb Williams was at USC. Oh, yeah. And he was threw a fit and was like, I'm probably not going to play because the USC quarterback now. Whatever. Boise State looks good. I'm a fan. I mean, I know that they beat the Cougs. They deserve to beat the Cougs. They look good, and I think it's fun. My question I have for you now, because I'm just curious, because I don't think you're going to agree with me, but maybe you will. Do you? And I know it's not been convincing enough, but at 5-1, do you think if the Cougs win and go 6-1, they should be ranked? I'm just curious. I have no idea where they are in the rankings.
Who are they playing next?
Hawaii. They don't have any good games. So that's their problem.
If they could play someone decent, I'm talking 28, maybe 26.
Sure, ranked. I think their big ranked, game is Oregon State.
I think that's their problem.
In the coaches poll, they got 8 votes to be in the top 25. In the other one, the AP, they got none. Yeah, no, sorry. They're 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So they're the 30th ranked team. So if they go 6-1, do you think they can jump 5 spots? I mean, obviously they need some help, but
I think if they had played Oregon State this next week and win, I think that's the answer. Yes. Okay. I just don't think the Hawaii's quite good enough. Sure. Unless they just blow them out.
I agree.
And make a huge statement.
That's I think at 6-1 they're going to be
tough.
It'll be borderline. I think at 6-1 you get to in between the 26 to 24 ranking, 27, 24 ranking, and I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they could be a 25 ranked team, but
I think they make an appearance. I just don't think they go past 20. Even if they win out, it would be.
If they win out, I think they get to the high teens. They're not. I will put my hand straight up. Yeah. If we go undefeated, I don't want to be in the playoffs. I don't think we are a playoff team. I don't want to be there. I don't want any part of it. I think it'd be fun, but I don't want to lose by 40. I think we should be the highest. I would say probably 17. Yeah. If we win out, that's where I would probably put us. But I mean, it's hard because again, you've beaten 2 really good teams. You've lost to obviously a very good team in Boise State. And
I just don't feel like they have quite enough schedule to get there.
Yeah. If the UW would keep winning and actually learn how to play football, then it'd be better. I don't know what Texas Tech is doing, but yeah, that could help us out. Well, that's all the sports I have. I don't know if you have anything else.
That was it for me. Thanks for listening to the Kinda Athletic podcast. Please like and subscribe to all our social media platforms and make sure to come back next week to hear more from the Kinda Athletic podcast.